Welcome to the first of 4 videos on Microsoft Access. Access is the database product that comes with the Microsoft Office suite of products. The effort it takes to learn Access is well worth it because Access is a tool for managing large data sets, and you might have noticed that the amount of data being collected and stored in the world is growing at a phenomenal rate. Access is probably a little more challenging than Word, Excel, or PowerPoint. I mention this not to scare you, but to prepare you. With Microsoft Word, you might get away with jumping right in and fiddling with the features until you figure them out. With Access, that's going to be a little more challenging because Access is based on database concepts that aren't general knowledge and probably not intuitive to most people. For this reason, this video is going to cover not only the basic features of Access, but also fundamental database concepts you need to know in order to fully understand the features that are discussed. Let's get started. This is the first screen you'll see when you start Access. It has a lot in common with the startup screen for PowerPoint. There's a list here on the left of recently opened Access documents or databases. You can browse your computer or cloud storage for an existing Access database. Or you can create a new database using the icons on the right. If you are creating a new database, you can create a new blank database or a database from one of the available templates. Warning, some of these templates require a SharePoint server to run. The prompt here for web location indicates that you have to have access to a SharePoint server in order to use this template. There are a few templates with the word desktop in their title that don't require a SharePoint server. We're going to skip the templates though and create a new blank database that runs locally without the services of a SharePoint server. To create a new blank database, single-click Blank Desktop Database. Now this is one place you don't want to double-click. If you do double-click by accident, you'll miss this screen. It's probably not a good design, but I guess it is what it is. From this screen, you specify a name and location for the database that you're creating. This is another example of how Access deviates from other Office products such as Word and Excel. With other Office products, the standard workflow is to create some content and then save it to the file system. With Access, you have to specify the file name and location before entering any content. Select the folder icon to specify which folder to store the database in. I'm going to create my database on the desktop. Enter the name of the database here. I'm going to name my database Cookie Cells. For the purposes of this example, imagine we're creating a database to track cookie cells for a local Girl Scout troop. Make note of the location and name of your database. You'll need it later when you want to reopen it. Access starts you off with a screen for defining a table. Tables are the foundation of databases. Creating tables is discussed in the next video, so I'm going to close this screen for now. What I want to do in this video is to give you a high-level overview of Microsoft Access. An Access database is a collection of objects. On the Create tab, you can see the types of objects that make up an Access database. Tables are one type of object. Every database consists of one or more tables, and it might also include other objects such as forms, reports, queries, and macros. Tables store the raw data of a database. For example, in the next video, we'll define a table for the types of cookies our Girl Scout troop offers, and also a table for customers or the buyers of these cookies. Forms are used for viewing and entering data. You can enter and view data directly to and from a table, but forms make it easier and safer. Reports are used for presenting information on screen and on paper. Queries are used for retrieving data in a way that answers questions. For example, when you search for something on eBay or Amazon, your search criteria is used to construct a database query which retrieves the information that you requested. A database stores data, but so does an Excel spreadsheet and a Word document for that matter. An important question to ask when faced with a problem that requires data storage is which tool is most appropriate. Maybe we don't even need a database in order to store data on Girl Scout cookie sales. Maybe we could get by with an Excel spreadsheet listing customer names and their orders. In general, there are several advantages, though, to using a database over, say, an Excel spreadsheet. It all depends on the characteristics of the data and how you plan to use the data. First, a database can protect the integrity of your data. Data integrity means the data is accurate, valid, and consistent. A database takes pains to avoid duplicate data, so data inconsistency is less of a problem. Second, a database provides alternate views of the data. If you need only one view of the data, maybe a spreadsheet is the best tool. It certainly wouldn't work for Amazon or eBay because these sites offer a near infinite number of different views of the underlying data. Third, a database is much more efficient at storing large amounts of data. If you have a lot of data, you need a database. I'm going to end this video with a demonstration of how to close and reopen a database. It sounds simple, and it is, except for one ominous message. Before closing your database, I recommend closing any objects that you have open. Right now it's not a problem because our database doesn't have any objects. Here, I'll create a table so you can see what having an open object looks like. There, we have one open object now. Like I said, I recommend closing all objects you have open before closing your database. It'll avoid potential problems with partially saved data. There, all objects are closed, and now I'm going to close the database by closing the window. To reopen the database, one option is to double-click the database file name in Windows Explorer. Another option is to first start Access and then open the database from Access. I'll demo that now. This is the screen you'll see when you first start Microsoft Access. There's the database we created. I'm going to pretend it's not listed in the recently opened document so I can demonstrate browsing the hard drive for an existing database. I'm going to click here to open an existing document. And again, I'm going to pretend the database I want to open isn't listed here. I'm going to click on Computer to browse my hard drive. I'm going to select Desktop because that's where we save the database to. And there it is. I'll select it and click Open. The first time you open a database that's been moved to a new location, you're likely to see a warning message like this. In certain situations, Access will disable macros and other executable content which might contain malware. If you trust the source of the database, you can enable the executable content by clicking on Enable Content. If you don't trust the source of the database, select the X in the right-hand corner. Well, that concludes this introductory video on Access. The next video is all about tables, how to define them and how to populate them with data.